Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're diving into the aftermath of the caucus kickout and what Tiffany Henyard plans to do next, true to her usual style. Tiffany is doing things her own way, and she has now filed a lawsuit. But, as always, there's a twist. Before we dive into the details, if you're a returning supporter, don't forget to hit that like button. And if you're new here and enjoying the content, go ahead and like the video too. Now let's talk about Tiffany's latest legal move. I first heard about this lawsuit from the Hannibal is Hungry channel, where you can find a full breakdown of the situation. So here's what's going on. Tiffany Henyard is suing State Senator Napoleon Harris and the Democratic Party, claiming they have engaged in unfair practices. But here's where it gets really interesting. One of the plaintiffs listed in the lawsuit is Fitzgerald Roberts, the mayor of Dixmoor. For those unfamiliar, Dixmoor is only about 10 minutes away from Dolton, where Tiffany Henyard is the mayor. However, according to an article from Fox 32 Chicago, Fitzgerald Roberts never agreed to be part of this lawsuit. Dixmoor Village President Fitzgerald Roberts has publicly stated that his name was added to Tiffany's lawsuit due to a misunderstanding. Here's what he had to say. My understanding of the conversation I had with Supervisor Henyard was vastly different than her understanding. I want to make it clear that I was not aware of any lawsuits filed on my behalf. I have not authorized or initiated any legal action, nor was I consulted about any such filings. I appreciate the work Supervisor Henyard and Senator Harris have done for Dixmoor. My focus is on the village of Dixmoor and helping the residents here. I have no desire to be a part of this lawsuit. That's a strong statement. The article further explains that Roberts is now exploring legal options to get his name removed from the lawsuit. This whole situation raises an important question. Did Tiffany Henyard intentionally misrepresent Roberts' position? Or was this simply a misunderstanding? There are a couple of possibilities. Maybe Tiffany and Roberts had a casual conversation where he expressed concerns, and she took that as permission to include him in the lawsuit. Or perhaps she deliberately twisted the situation to make it seem like Roberts was on her side, using his name to strengthen her legal claims. Honestly, I find it hard to believe that the mayor of Dixmoor would willingly involve himself in such a random lawsuit on Tiffany Henyard's behalf. It just doesn't make sense. There's been a lot of speculation about why Tiffany Henyard is facing opposition from the Democratic Party. Some believe that her open support for Donald Trump could be a factor. One of my commenters actually mentioned this theory, suggesting that Tiffany is being booted from the Democratic Party because of her alignment with Trump. I won't try to pronounce their name because I don't want to butcher it, but here's what they said. This was Tiffany's plan from the start. They went on to explain that there are videos from other content creators showing Tiffany inside the hall before everything began, fully aware that she wouldn't qualify because she didn't have a full slate. At this point, it's clear that Tiffany Henyard operates in her own reality, and this lawsuit is just another example of that. Whether she misunderstood Roberts' stance or deliberately added his name without his consent, it only adds to the ongoing controversy surrounding her leadership. As for her potential removal from the Democratic Party, we'll have to wait and see if the speculation about her Trump connections turns out to be true. One thing's for sure, this political drama is far from over. Stay tuned for more updates, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you want to stay informed. What do you all think? Did Tiffany knowingly misrepresent Roberts' involvement, or was it an honest mistake? Drop your thoughts in the comments below.
Have y'all ever emailed Tiffany? Because she has never, since she's been the mayor, responded herself to an email. Ever. She didn't even have access because she said she don't like responding.
This comes across as pure laziness to me. It seems like Tiffany thought she could bypass all the necessary paperwork and still secure a spot as a supervisor nominee or SLC candidate. Her strategy, along with her small group of about 8 supporters, appeared to focus on bringing in elderly individuals and using them to push a voter suppression narrative. They attempted to frame the situation as if people inside had deliberately left senior citizens out in the cold. Tiffany kept pushing this angle in her media interviews, repeatedly claiming that elderly people were intentionally left outside, in freezing temperatures. To reinforce this narrative, she even brought 1 or 2 elderly individuals into her interviews, having them tell the same story about being left outside in wheelchairs.
To see such inhumane done to our seniors who stayed outside in the cold for hours.
There were so many people lined up outside
and it was so cold. That's the only thing that I really took note of, because they wanted to vote. They took their time to come out. We had people out there that were on oxygen masks, pushing those chairs with.
I think Tiffany meant to say wheelchairs. But at the same time, she conveniently forgets all the Dalton residents and senior citizens she has repeatedly left standing outside the village hall, waiting for meetings to start. It didn't matter how hot it was, or if people were on crutches or had other difficulties. Everyone had to wait for Queen Tiffany to show up late, as usual. But let's keep going. The commenter then claims that Tiffany purposely arranged for the elderly to arrive late, giving herself time to stage photos and videos outside with them. In my opinion, that's elder abuse, forcing senior citizens to stand outside just so she could get a photo op. It's exploitation, plain and simple. She made them stand in the cold just to boost her chances of getting on the ballot. If that were my grandma or mom, I'd never allow them to be used like that. It's yet another example of Tiffany's total lack of empathy and respect for people, using them for her personal and political gain in exchange for trivial rewards like bingo prizes. Now, if you're not aware, there's a huge controversy surrounding Tiffany Henyard's extravagant bingo prizes for senior citizens. The issue isn't just that she's giving out prizes, it's the scale of the giveaways. She's not handing out something small like a toaster or a blender. Instead, she's giving away washers, dryers, refrigerators, freezers, air fryers, cars, TVs, you name it. Back to the comment, it says Tiffany won't sue because, first of all, she can't afford any more lawyers, and second, she knows she would lose by a landslide. The commenter wrote this before Tiffany actually announced her lawsuit, so they weren't aware at the time. They go on to say that instead of pursuing legitimate legal proceedings, Tiffany relies on fake press releases to sway public opinion. This is blatant grandstanding at its finest. Oh yes, the grandstanding, because by now we all know that Tiffany Henyard is the queen of it, despite accusing everyone else of doing the same. The commenter points out that Tiffany knew she didn't qualify for the caucus yet continues to push her narrative. Why? Because she's been enabled for years, operating unchecked thanks to Governor Pritzker and Kwame Raoul, both of whom excel at issuing public statements but have consistently failed to support their voters in any meaningful way. I believe Senator Napoleon Harris was sent under Governor Pritzker's orders to remove Tiffany Henyard. Why? Because she's proven herself disloyal to the Democratic Party. In politics, much like in gangs, you don't switch sides repeatedly. She publicly congratulated Donald Trump, the party's chief adversary, starting with a Facebook post and continuing to align herself with him ever since.
Hey guys, it's your Super Mayor Tiffany Henyard, the People's Supervisor / Mayor. Today is election day.
Might have continued to protect her, or at the very least, overlooked some of her questionable actions. But instead, she's burned bridges left and right, making enemies even among those who once supported her. At the end of the day, politics isn't just about winning elections, it's about maintaining alliances. Tiffany Henyard has proven time and time again that she's only loyal to herself. That kind of self-serving attitude doesn't go unnoticed. And now she's facing the consequences. Her downfall isn't just because of financial scandals or alleged corruption. It's because she played the game recklessly. You can't alienate your own party, manipulate the public, and expect to come out unscathed. Now, as she scrambles to hold on to power, it's clear that her political career is hanging by a thread.